Right, welcome back everybody. You are tuned into Breakfast Central. Thank you so much for sticking with us. We're now going to get into business as usual, and today is all about building a strong social currency. We're talking about what social currency is and its value for any entity in the business space. So people have often wondered why some customers may choose a certain service over others, and also wonder why it is that some companies get referrals on social media and are able to attract a large following, while others struggle to get just, basic engagement. So I'm really excited to be joined by Joshua Esiebo today, who's a digital strategist. Good morning. How are you today?
Very good. Very good.
Yeah, let's get straight into it. We tried to sort of have a little discussion about this last week, but the first thing we tripped over was the difference between social currency and social capital. So what is social currency?
Yeah, for me, basically, there's a lot of definition about social currency all around. And so for me, I think social currency, it's one, intangible, and it results from our actions and inactions on social and also online, right? And for individuals, brands, businesses, it's important for you to take social currency very serious and for you to even see how you can leverage on your social currency across platforms, online, offline, etc. So social currency will be the result of the sentiments or your actions, social actions, as we can say, maybe through your videos, through your words, through your pictures that you probably share online. And then so for brands, social currency would be the result of your actions based on your brand promises, how you keep to your word, how people can take your word to the bank. So basically it's just those results from those actions and inactions of what you tell people about your brand. Basically.
Okay, so almost what we would call converting.
Something like that.
So how is that different to social capital?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, social capital from one of the concepts from Perry, this Frenchman that designed the concept for social capital. Basically, social capital is like an overarching principle where social currency is picks his own
so
stuff
one of
from,
the
right?
elements.
Exactly, one of the elements. So for social capital, we have a series of concepts or framework that you can link social currency into. One of them is your network, your resources, right? So your resources being the people, the skill sets, the value, etc. that you offer. And then the other would be the type, the structure of these people or of your resources. How large are they? How rich are they? What's the number of the resources you have? And then the last part would be the exact currency, like the result of the first two things I've mentioned, the resources and then the type or the structure. So the social currency now is hinged on social capital. So social capital is here, then your social currency is here.
It is down there. So talking about it, it seems as though once you have all those other elements together, to make up the social capital, it seems like social currency has a lot to do with the individual identity or personality of a brand.
A lot, in the sense that because it results from the inaction, it results from intangibles, invisible things that you don't necessarily have to come tell people about. So people pick perception, from everything you do, right?
Yeah.
So you post a picture, for instance, you really don't go there to explain to people, this is what I want this picture to do. But then people see this picture and they already have a perception about what you're trying to talk about, right?
They want to buy the bag, or they want to buy the shoe.
Exactly. So you put a nice shoe, probably you post a nice shoe online, and you just post it because you're trying to do sales pitch, and then you're trying to also sell your market, right? So people see this bag, right, and because it's relative, I see this bag and say, oh, nice bag, right, and I move on, and then another person sees this bag and say, oh, this bag is expensive, and it moves on, right? And then there's a friend, like probably someone that probably comes and say, oh, I need to buy a bag for my fiance, it's Valentine's, right? And I say, oh, I saw this bag from this brand, so it shows that you've built your social capital or your social currency across that channel, right? You might not be able to tell someone that, oh, please let me refer someone to come pick up my bag, but then through your social currency, you've been able to tell a story, and oftentimes it works with word of mouth, right? Referrals, word of mouth, goodwill, and what have we? It's endless. But the more you use your social currency, the better it is for you as a brand or as someone, as a people.
And there's also a perception that it takes money to build this, to build your social currency, to build your content so that, it gets engagement and it converts and such and such and such. But on the flip side of it, there's this little thing that we're obsessed with right now called aesthetic. Yeah. Now, what, in your opinion, what do you prioritize? How much effort do you put into, building a certain type of aesthetic to draw in a certain audience versus let me just do paid ads and, just get more people to see my content? Right. Yeah.
So remember I said earlier that it's relative, right? And the thing is, because most of these platforms online, the algorithm is changing. You need to spend before more people can reach or see your content. So, so it's relative, right? Some people are drawn by the aesthetics, right? Some people are drawn by the messaging. Some people are drawn by price, right? Some people are drawn by maybe previously they probably bought or they reached out to you and they liked the way you responded to them, right? So it's important for you to make sure that across spectrum, across all facets of everything that defines social currency for you as a brand, it's important that you keep to your word, right? Because quality, value, and what have you, right, are all of these things that build your credibility and that affect your social currency. Now, the thing about social currency is, just like money, right? You can either have more money or you lose money, right? You can either gain money or you lose money. So you can either gain social currency or you lose social currency. So you need to always constantly make sure that while you're at it, your social currency is being, built,
growing.
Because
it can wane.
Because if you lose your social currency, it starts affecting the bottom line at the end of the day anyway. So basically.
So let's also just talk about sort of the evolution of social currency in Africa, because you see the Kim Kardashians and the Kylie Jenners, and all they have to do is literally post a fingernail in a certain shade of pink, and that color of nail polish might sell out in the next 24 hours. Whereas if you look at the personalities, and I don't want to call them influencers, let's look at the broad spectrum of, from artists to business people to politicians, you name it, that all have large followings. It doesn't it doesn't follow as predictably on the African continent that, just because Funke Akindele, who has, I believe, the highest number of followers in Nigeria on Instagram, posts a certain nail polish that, at least 1 million people are going to go and buy it. So, how far are we going on this journey with social currency in Africa?
Remember I said earlier about social capital having 3 different types of concepts. So, like I said, your resources, right? Then the structure, the type, right? So bringing it down to Africa, you say your resources being the people, and then for this people you've mentioned, resources would be probably their likes, their number of followers and quote. And then because over here we've probably focused on a lot of vanity metrics, right? You probably make a post and you say, how many likes did I get, right? Those things really do not really hard to the bottom line, right? So for us, I think the game is also changing because of a lot of efforts have been put into data marketing, into getting real data and knowing what people really want, and addressing issues based on those data. So for me, I think the game is changing. Over time, we'll catch up, and then the effort or the results should now be more focused on delivering value, delivering results, and not now focused on the number of followers you have, the number of likes you get, because at the end of the day, some of this large following are bloated. Right, you go deep down into the numbers and you see that, this guy that has probably 1 million followers, from these 1 million followers, maybe 30% or 40% are actually legit or real, right? So the games are changing. Now, like I said, because people are going into real data, we are now understanding the fact that, these numbers really doesn't matter. It's the engagement, the number of people talking about it, the perception that people have about this person, right? I might have 10,000 followers and I have amazing perception than someone that has 200,000 followers, for instance. So that's it.
Okay, so we've finally gotten to a point where, like you said, business is going beyond the vanity matrix. So business people should also not be obsessed with the numbers and so forth, but should focus on the quality. But it's almost like a catch-22, right? Because you also want people to see the stuff. But in the long, let's say, ultimately what you want to do is you want your social currency to be transferable and to grow as well. So you've already already mentioned some of those things. What's the one deal breaker? Because there's a lot of options that you've mentioned, different strategies. But what's the one thing that you would say that, listen, you can leave everything else out of it, but this is the one thing you need to ensure that you do?
Yeah, for me, I think the most important thing all around social currency is quality, right? Keeping to your word, being trustworthy, quality over quantity anytime, and making sure that your word of mouth counts for you, referrals count for you. There's this saying that one word of mouth, right, is way better than, you know, maybe likes, right? Obviously, right? Because if I can give you a good review, there's a high tendency that you want to try out the product than someone just liking the product or someone just, you know, just sharing the product. So I think for me, it would be to focus more on quality. As a brand, focus more on quality, focus more on service delivery, quality service delivery, keep to your word, right? Because that's ultimately a currency that is global, right? If you offer quality products in Nigeria and it gets to the UK and it's also being seen as quality, then you're going to be patronized, right? But if you offer not so good quality and, you know, probably gets to shores beyond Nigeria, people probably look at it and discard it and, you know, move on to the next competitor, right? So it will be for you to focus on quality and focus on keeping to your word based on your brand promise. And then before you know it, you're going to the bank to cash out.
Last but not least, ethics and authenticity. You know, because again, I can't say it enough. It is very much a fake it to make it era. Like you said, you have people who are now buying followers. People are even buying likes and engagement as well, you know. So ethically, where do we draw the line between, you know, putting out a certain perception in order to achieve the desired end and, you know, just not being fraudulent? Because you know, there's so many of those memes that you see, you know, the angle that it's shot at makes the bottle look like 1 liter, and then when you zoom out you realize that the bottle is 50 mils. You know,
I sometimes see a lot of posts about what you ordered and what you get.
Yes, exactly.
Right, so it's and for those kind of people, brand businesses, I mean, they lose customers, obviously, because you can't sell me a bad product and I'll keep quiet about it. The first place I want to go and rant is social media, of course, right? And that being a platform where a social currency these days is, I mean, triples, right? Or, I mean, if I put something online, the tendency of it going viral is much more than being offline, right?
Of course,
so, it's important for you to be authentic. It's important for you to, like, I'll keep saying it, focus on quality. It's very important for you to not be fraudulent, right? Keep to your words. If you have 10,000 followers today, if you're consistent on quality, service delivery, over time you get to see that your followers will keep increasing, right? People will get to know you based on increased word of mouth, based on referrals, based on people liking your work for who you are, based on, you know, a lot of quality, positive mentions that you get. And then with that, you will really not get fake followers or fake customers or people that really want to even dupe you, right? So just focus on quality, keep being authentic, don't fake it till you make it, and the sky will be your limit.
And the sky will be your limit. On that note, thank you so much for this conversation, Joshua. It really has been insightful. To watch more videos just like this, make sure you subscribe right here. And of course, check out more videos right here.